Alright guys, so we're going to pick up from here. So we're going to start looking at our inputs now. So if we have a notice, what we have at the moment is each of our joysticks. We have 3 potentiometers, we have 2 buttons, and then the ground and power. So they're basically our signal wires coming out of here. So what I need to identify, and you're going to be able to do the same as well, is what I have each of these connected to. So if we have a look on the back, I can see my first one over here. I've got my 5 volt I know is red. Okay, so that's the first one, and my ground is black. So for everyone, that should be how we need it. Then if we have a look through, I've got my button. I've got one as a green. So I'm going to call this one is green. So button 2 is green. Button 1, we can see I've got a blue there. Okay, my potentiometer 3, I'm just going to keep going across, is going to be white. My potentiometer 2 is blue as well, so I'm going to have to identify which one of those is one as I go. So I can see that one there. I'm going to keep him a little bit separate so that I know that he's my blue for the potentiometer. And then the last one here is yellow. Okay, so I've got my wires set up where they need to go. Now what I need to be able to do now is these 2 down here need to connect into the 5 volt rail. So if we have a look at what I've got set up over here, let's get that a little bit closer, get him out of the way. So I need to be able to get him into the 5 volt rail down here. So let's start there. So I'm going to grab this guy, and he's going to go into the 5 volt there, and my ground goes into there. So now each of those components, assuming I've got it wired up correctly, is now connected to power. Alright, the next stage I need to look at is get my potentiometers. So all of these guys are going to be analog. Okay, so they are analog signals. These 2 are going to be digital. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to get my first one. So that yellow is going to go to A0, A1 and A2. Now if I have a look at what I've got left here, I'm going to probably, let's go 10 and 11 for these guys. Okay, so let's go through and connect those guys up, and then we can have a bit of a play over here to see how our inputs work. So let's go from there. So I've got this guy is my analog because I've bent him, so I know that he goes on the A, what did I say, blue, A1, so he's going to go in there. I've got the other white one is going to go A2, and then I've got my yellow is A0. So those guys all are now connected through there. Okay, and then my 2 here, I've got blue is going to go into D10 and green into D11. Okay, so 1 and 2 jump in there. Awesome. So that's now connected in. Now what I should be able to see now is if I have a look at how that operates here, is when I move some of these, we're going to see some input. So we can see those buttons, I press it, it turns off. So you can see over here, output 11, so I'm going to change the name of him. So I know that's actually going to be changing to input, isn't it? And the name of him is going to be, now I'm going to use that as my jaws. Jaws open and close. Jaws button. Okay, and then this is going to be my auto sequence. Okay, so then what I can see when I press that one, he turns on and off. So that's 1 and that's 0. So this one is a normally closed button instead of a normally open. Alright, so let's keep going through. So I said yellow, A0, is this potentiometer, so we can see he dials in. So what I'm going to use that one for is that's going to be my dial left, right, or my rotate. Okay, analog 1 is going to be that guy. So let's go, I'm going to use that for up and down. So let's see how that goes. So he goes from there to there. So we can see we're only using part of the length there, but that's okay. So we can see the bottom is about 130 up to 380. Okay, and then the last one we've got is this guy here, which is going to 47 up to about 350. So depending on how you've got your setup, that's going to depend on how we map it. So the last one I'm going to go, this one here is going to be the in-out lever. Okay, up, down, lever. Alright, so I now have all of the inputs that I need to be able to decide what happens over here. The next step that I need to do is actually the flowchart part, where I link in what I'm doing here to what happens with the arm. So that's going to be our next video we look at.